Hey everybody, so the minis are dry. They've had a lot of time to just dry now, so we're ready to prime them. So something that I have to do is I'm going to make some priming boards because I intend to use some of this spray paint. Now, people will say various things like, you know, Krylon is the only brand to use. This is a Rust-Oleum Ultra Cover Flat Gray Primer. So I'm going to use this. And I'm not by any stretch a master spray painter, but I've learned some techniques that I'll show you in this video. The idea though is that we want to attach the minis to some pieces of board. So what I took was a standard Amazon box and I cut it up into chunks. And what I'm going to do is use tape and double back it and tape the minis onto these boards, which will make it easier then to take them outside to a ventilated area and spray them in the next step. Here we are. All right. So I'm going to do this tray first. This has the plastics. Shake well. What if it exploded in my face?
You gonna pick it up?
Yeah. So I'm going to
Okay.
try to go this way. So I'm going to start off kind of far away. Okay, so before I put this down, I'm going to look really closely at it and just make sure that all the metal guys have some paint on them. And I could see a lot of spots right along there where I could still see the metal. So what I'm going to do is try to hold the tray up higher and then try to get along the bottoms there. Otherwise it's going to be a challenge to get the paint to stick. So I'm going to hold it up a little higher. I don't want to go too heavy on the paint. So again, I'm going to that's probably good. Yep, that's pretty good. And it's good that it's a dry and sunny day because we don't want these to be wet. And the primer will stay even. So the thing I learned is don't over prime. Don't put gloppy amounts of primer on because then you'll lose some of the detail on the sculpt. So I'm looking not just at the metal minis, but also this Heroforge mini for Cena. And it looks like that was some good coverage, but not so much that we've lost any of the major details. So getting up really close to look, and it looks pretty clean. So I'm happy with this tray. Time to do the next one. Okay, nice even coat there. Now we gotta let it dry. I'm gonna double check on the first batch that we did. And before we go inside and call it a wrap on the priming process, I'm just gonna go around with a real close eye, just make sure that I got everything on the metal end.
Hold it like right there in that position.
Yeah. So as I'm looking here, I could see that the primer did not hit a lot of these lower features. So I'm gonna go back through at the risk of overdoing it, but I'm gonna do a real light spray on the backs of these guys all along here just to make sure, especially with those metal minis, that I hit this with the primer. That's a little better coverage. From everything I've learned, it's better to just do little light sprays, starting with the can further away and kind of gradually get closer, but never get right up to it, because then you're going to just get dripping paint, which you don't want. That's a mess, and it's going to actually take away the details. So I think that I'm erring on the side of caution. I think there's enough of a primer for the paint to stick, so I'm going to call it a wrap on priming. But the next step, of course, in the next video, will be getting down into the painting.